Islam family, I want to make sure we have good visual today. Islam. Maybe I should clean off the lens just a little bit, but I hate touching it. I don't know what this is, Vivi. Is this shoe right here? Let's see if we can clean it off a little bit. I don't know. I'm trying, y'all. I don't want to mess nothing up. All right. Let's see. Let's see. That looks better. Maybe probably crank it up. That looks better. That's better. Islam family. Islam. Islam. I, self-law, master. Let me tell you, you don't know how much of a week I've had, but yes, you do. Islam family, you know the week I've had. There was a lot of Moorish unity come January the 28th, Monday, the day of emotions, the day of divination. And as you see, we were victorious. And not necessarily because of anything I specifically did. It was because of everything we did as a unified nation. And that is the biggest message that I want to get across today, is that we need to unify. We need to unify, and we need to stand together regardless of how we feel as though this nation is supposed to be run, our Moroccan empire. There's a multitude of ways we can do this thing, and we don't have to establish groups here, organizations here. We're all the same, and there's much room for everyone to be involved. All Moors. Vivi, can you stop going across my screen? To be involved. So do not think for 1 second that what I say goes, what you say goes, what they say goes. We are a unified people, and we are the people. The people are what make the government. Islam. So let's get that solidarity thing under wraps, and let's be there for one another. Islam family. So I was thinking, don't get it twisted, for at least 6 months I've been thinking of this. My consort has been wanting to manifest this from the beginning, saying that this is something that we absolutely positively need to protect Islam family, to protect our estate, to protect ourselves. And we need to get that in our heads, to think it, to manifest it. Islam family, so what I'm saying is we have to come up with what we want to call it, how we want it to manifest, and the people are what is going to institute that family. That's you, that's me, that's all of us. Islam, and welcome. Islam. So I only came up with these out of the blue. I've been manifesting them and pushing them on social media so we can come up and vote as a unified body, as a unified governmental body, as the only unified governmental body in Morocco, at Morocco, Northwest Mexum, what we want to call our security, until we get the GAR, the Grand Army of the Republic, which you think of is the military. The army is the Grand Army of the Republic. What do we want to call our security here at Morocco until Donald Trump does what he is supposed to do and what we have commanded him to do? And until then, as well as after then, because we got to make sure everybody here domiciling at Morocco are upholding the supreme laws of the land. And my question to you, family, is, do you know what the supreme laws of the land? Because if you don't know the laws, you don't know what you need or what you're supposed to be lawfully supporting and instilling. So what are the 4 laws, supreme laws of the land? What are the 4? Can anyone tell me that? I'll wait. I will wait.
Brain fart, go ahead.
You having a brain fart? Let's see if we got some people on the news feed telling us. Islam. Come on, what's the first one?
Bill of Rights.
Bill of Rights, that's part of the Constitution, so that's 1. That is right. You have 1. That was the one that came at the end after all of the 3 came first.
Right to liberty.
Who?
Pursuit of happiness.
Pursuit of happiness. That's all in the Constitution. So that's still with Constitution.
Right.
What was the first oath, pledge that the Albion had to take in order to be here?
Peace and treaty.
Treaty of Peace and Friendship. That's number 3. What was number 1?
Okay.
Before we would even talk to them, what did they have to pledge?
Allegiance of article.
And how did they pledge that allegiance?
Through,
The Articles of Confederation.
That was second. What was the number 1? That they celebrate on the 4th, but they supposed to celebrate on the 2nd. Huh?
Article of Incorporation.
That's part of the Articles of Confederation.
United States Constitution.
What do they talk about on their 4th of July?
Independence.
Thank you. Declaration of Independence.
Okay.
That was the first pledge. Because if you want to sit here and be a part of someone, right? If you want to sit here and be a part of a government that already exists, the sovereigns of the land, what do you got to do? But like, look, I pledge myself, my fortune, my lives, my very being to this said government. I pledge that. So before you can get contracts, before you can even be allowed to stay in any capacity outside of your indentured servitude, you had to pledge. You had to say, look, just like how y'all go and be pledging to sororities, just like how y'all go and pledge to secret societies, just like how y'all pledge to even come into the so-called corporate state, you're pledging. Everything is a pledge. To even sit on any particular seat, regardless if it's corporate, regardless if it's government, you have to make a pledge. And y'all don't read the damn documents because y'all so happy about the so-called fiat, you forget that you took a pledge. What do you think the ball games, the football players, the basketball players, what you think they do every time before they even go and play? They pledging. Before they pledge, they had their hand on their what? And they're pledging to what?
That red, white, and blue banner.
They're pledging. Why do you think they're not bowing anymore? Why do you think they're kneeling? But you shouldn't be kneeling because kneeling is submission. To kneel and to do this is submission, babies. It's submission.
It is.
It's submission, honeys. To sit here and say that you don't pledge is to literally do this. Let me turn around and let y'all do what y'all gonna do. I'm gonna sit here and be myself. Me, myself, and I. I'm not gonna sit here and pledge. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, yes, Father. Even though I'm not doing this. Doing this is submission, babies. So maybe you ballers need to stop doing that. Maybe you ballers need to start doing this.
Right.
Like they used to do back in the Black Panther time, they used to hold their fist up or, I don't know, stop going to the games because you ain't getting paid anyway. You're the highest paid, non-paid individual in the land. I'm just letting you know. And just like how one more on the YouTube channel, I'm just here to make you think. So let's be united. So let's figure out what we want to call our security team, our law enforcement team, our supreme law enforcement team, our Moorish supreme law enforcement team. I don't care what you want to call it, but it's up to you people because you are the government. So what you want to call it? These are things that I just start manifesting so people can start doing the same. And I've seen so many things that just propped out. And I don't want our conveyances to be black. Sorry, they're red. Red. I want you to see us coming. You can't make a mistake between any other of those so-called infrastructures. You know when a Moorish security team is coming because they got a red conveyance. Islam, and don't get it twisted. I might put the green 5-pointed star right on the hood, so you can't even make a mistake, and nobody else outside of our nationality can be even traveling in those conveyances or having them. So if you got a red conveyance, you might want to trade that in if you ain't a Moor. And I'm just saying, actually, I'm commanding. I only want Moors traveling in red conveyances. Not only that, I don't even think I want anybody else wearing red. I'm just going to say, that's my color. I claim it. I command it. Islam. Huh? No, you can't have my phone. How you gonna have my phone and that's what I'm recording on? Duh. Look, she took her hair out already. I'll be trying. Anyway, so the two names that I came up with so far was Moorish Unity Freedom Team Islam. I just thought of it. Please inspire my creativity, inspire your creativity, or Moorish Estate Security. I'm not going to act like the acronym don't add up to Mufti. I'm not going to act like that doesn't say Mufti. Call it what you want. But it's about securing you and me from birthright theft of self, birthright theft of property, birthright theft of resources. That is what this is. So Moors should never, I don't care if you declared or undeclared, should never be kicked out of their homes. Their conveyances should never be taken, and nor should their children, their prodigy, their heirs. So this is to secure person, effects, and what's the other one? Resources. Which article guarantees you? The Bill of Rights of the Constitution says, you can't take nothing from me. You can't take nothing from me unless you have a claim. You can't have a claim if you're not sovereign. How you claiming something that is corporeal or incorporeal and you don't even have a status now because you've been gang warring against the supreme law that gave you that? How you taking people's stuff? You're like literally at ground zero claiming to be a sovereign. Ground zero. You celebrate every 4th of July, which is the July 2nd. You celebrate your so-called Independence Day. Well, who you got the independence from and who secured that independence for you? It was the Moroccan Empire. So let's not act like we don't know how the heck we got here on the rock called the Northwest I.S.L.A.M and how we got that liberation. Because to even breathe is to declare it. To even breathe is to acknowledge it. You can't acknowledge it without breathing because it is the only reason you exist today. So I don't need you to sit here and say, I don't recognize this authority. Who the hell are you to recognize anything? I mean, serious people. They got knocked on the head. You got knocked on the head. Everybody got knocked on the head running around acting like they don't know what the heck law is. And don't know who is subject and who is sovereign. You know, so the heck do I. Start enforcing it, family. Start enforcing the supreme laws of the land. And let these individuals know they want to continue to domicile here and to have freedom and peace and harmony and tranquility here as an outsider, as an immigrant who migrated from another place. We make the rules. We make the law. And we've already made the rules and we've already made the laws. It is your responsibility to uphold it. And if you want to keep gang warring against it, you ain't going to be here.
That's right.
Moorish Unity Freedom Team Islam, or Moorish Estate Security, or whatever we ultimately manifest in the end. So, I don't want to beat this home, but we've already bet it home. Because when Moors call us because they're on the side of the road, being victimized by a policy enforcer, we're supposed to be there. We're supposed to be there. At least 9 is supposed to come and secure that Moor and that Moor's family and that Moor's property. When a Moor is being threatened, like I was threatened on Monday, to be kicked out of my domicile, my estate, which I never will ever abandon, no matter what pain comes. I will never abandon my estate because I have her to answer to. My heir. I have my heirs to answer to, just like you have your heirs to answer to. Right. So you need to be standing in solidarity and not sitting here pushing packages on people. Moors, I've been thinking about this and I've been not wanting to necessarily say anything because even though you should not be charging people for liberation because you're violating Chapter 25 probably, which is why your health's not so great, which is why you're going through so many things. Every time you get something in your hand, it literally goes out some other way because you got it unlawfully and through deceit. Because the reality is, if I'm enslaved and you're free, are you truly free? If I'm enslaved and I'm your brother or your sister? Chapter 25 talks about unity. It is your duty. It is your oath to support one another and to protect one another. So when we need to spring into action, I don't give a damn if you got a job. You ain't getting paid anyway. You ain't getting paid. You're not getting money. And as soon as you come to that thought, that realization, it'll be so easy to leave, because guess who can't throw you out your home? And guess who can't take your children? Guess who can't take your property? Why are you at the plantation? To secure all of those things. When they already are secured, all you have to do is stand on the law. That's how you secure it. Stand on the law, and us getting in solidarity so we can let everybody know everything's prepaid for Moors. Everything's prepaid to Moors. Do you really know what that means? Do you really know what that means? That means I shouldn't be purchasing or transacting business to get coffee or water or electricity or a domicile to dwell in. Anything. It's all prepaid. They know it. They know it. They know what it means. Every person every Moor that nationalizes and gets in alignment, they lose things. They've already lost. This is game over for them. Literally. They don't want to be subject to you anymore. Okay, well, you don't have to be, but if you want to be here, you automatically are. So if you don't want to be here and you don't want to be subject, you have one option. What's the option, Morris?
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Felicia.
Bye, Felicia. Right. We're going to use that tag. Go, bye, Felicia. Bye-bye. See you later. See you later, alligator. Don't let the door hit you on your way out. So our job, our duty, our oath is to one another. And not to be sitting here pushing like the things that people tell me. And the first thing I will always go back to is, when you sit here thinking that you're paying for something, you've already lost. When you're sitting here, you're putting someone else in the driver's seat of your life, you've already lost. Don't ever do that. I've never done that. Even in subjugation, if somebody told me the sky was blue, I was like, how do I know that's true? How do I know your identification of blue is what that sky really represents? So you never take what anybody says Islam's as factual actuals. You do your own research. You do your own due diligence. And if somebody's sitting here trying to rob you, making you pay all this Federal Reserve notes, transacting all this energy for something that may or may not happen, well, who's really to blame? Is it the person that deceived you, or is the person that was that got deceived? Because we're all supposed to know this. We're all supposed to know it, so we can all check each other. Check yourself before you wreck yourself. I mean, we had a lot of catchphrases with music that was trying to kind of educate you, but we was just dancing. You know what I'm saying? Like when we think about the 90s and we think about the early 2000s, man, the music that was coming out in that era was so positive, was so powerful. Oh, we was too busy dancing to it. Not really listening to what they was trying to say. And I'm not even saying it was the artist trying to say it, because a lot of their music wasn't their music. So don't think that every Albion is out to get you. They're not. Some of your own wearing turbans and fezzes be screwing you royally. Right. So we got to know the law so we can enforce the law, not only to those who come from someplace else, but those who also dwell here, who are your brothers and sisters. Wearing turbans and fezzes, trying to keep you in blind disobedience. We all supposed to know this knowledge. I push all this information out. We have a Facebook group called Moorish American Consulate, N.E.A.M. Moorish American Consulate, N.E.A.M. Moorish American Consulate, N.E.A.M. because people tell me I talk too fast. I put all the files there. If the file's not there and you've been through the whole file list, just shoot a text message or an email. I might not get it that day. I might not even get it that week. I'm not even going to lie to you, because I do get calls, texts, emails. I ain't even going to say Marco Polo, but in Messenger. How am I supposed to get to all of these things? How? And if you want me to sit here and spend 3 hours going through text messages, well, I could have spent that 3 hours processing identification cards, processing nationality documentation. But if you're sending me documentation and it doesn't at least have this name declaration, that's 2 pages, 2-page name declaration, 8-page judicial proclamation, info sheet so I know who you are, photo so I know you're a Moor. I'm going to go over that again. 2-page name declaration. The name declaration is you realigning yourself, saying, I am no longer Sharon Tracy Gell. I am now Sharon Tracy Gell Bay, Moorish American National. That's what the name declaration is. It is you affirming and declaring your nationality. The judicial proclamation is you professing it to the world and putting it on the public platform for acknowledgement. Not necessarily acknowledgement, just letting them know. Look, I'm no longer over here in worship status. I'm over here attached to the land and in my sovereign national capacity. I'm no longer out swimming to sea hoping someone pulls me up and doesn't subjugate me at the same time. Islam? That's what those 2 documents represent. Well, info sheet. If you send just those two documents and no info sheet, first of all, I don't know who you are. Second of all, I don't know how to get in touch with you if you messed up, or if I need a photo because you didn't put a photo in there. So now, not only did I get this package with just this, it didn't have this, and it didn't have this, the info sheet or the photo. So now I'm sitting right here like, so now I got to stack this high of individuals that don't have a photo. Okay, well, what's the first thing that identifies you? You! You're the first thing that identifies you. So if you're going to send me documentation and not going to give me a photo, well, can I really process your nationality documents? And if I don't have a contact information where I can shoot you a quick text to say, can you send me a picture? Or, what's your Moorish appellation? Or people send me requests all the time and they don't tell me who they are. So I'll be sitting here like, what's your appellation? And I'm not going to sit here and keep saying appellation and put in air quotes name. I'm just going to keep saying it and you'll be like, what is she talking about? Maybe I should go look up what appellation means. Maybe, just maybe. You got the phones, man. Everybody has phones. You can just say, what is an appellation? And Google will say, an appellation is how one identifies themselves in their nationality. What is a name? A name is the identifier of a corporation. I'm just making this up as I go. But at the same time, if this is not in the package, I already had to put it to the side because now that's what I have to do. I have to send you a memo. If I send you a memo, that means you didn't give me this and this is all I have. So now and that's the only way I can reach you because it came in the mail, so I know your mailing location. So you're stopping stuff. And then you want to send me emails or text messages or Facebook comments. Sharon, what's the status of my documents? And then your appellation is not your Facebook profile, it's John Smith. So John Smith asked Sharon Tracy Gell Bay, where's his documents? And didn't even tag his appellation at the end. So now I'm sitting here like, well, who am I talking to? Do y'all realize if y'all don't put your Moorish appellation down, I don't know who I'm talking to. And so I can't say, oh, I got it. Let me tell you, oh, I got it. I was waiting for a photo. Can you send me a photo? Or just explain. Because I don't know you when you text me. And that's why I say, what's your appellation so I can log you into my phone. So when you contact me again, I know exactly who I'm talking to. And my brain will go back to, okay, I'm waiting for this for that person, or this document already went out, so they'll get it in the mail. And realize every time I turn around, I'm sending more documents out. And y'all packages get thick now. They get thick. Be like 20 people in one document and no photos. Not one. I be like, I'm getting punked. Y'all be punking me. But let me tell you, Sagittarius Sharon always got backups for her backups and her backups. So anyway, that's why. Look, y'all lucky. Y'all lucky. I was pressed for time. I'd have been out of bought everybody package, and I would have read y'all appellations out. Where's your photo? Okay. Next week is going to happen. I'm gonna read y'all appellations out and tell you I'm waiting for this from you. And I saw her. Yeah, I'm gonna put you on blast, Asar. Yes, Asar. You're on blast. Hi, Asar. How are you? I know your daughter's on call. Did she say something, Miss Asar? Hi. How are you? I don't have your documents yet. I'm going through them. I'm still looking for documents in the mail. You sure you mailed it to me? Here's another. Do you know who you mail stuff to, family? Record keeping. I learned this well in accounting. That's my trade, accounting. So I know how to keep track of what people say and what people do. And sometimes I do make errors. Don't get it twisted, because I am not a perfect being. Came down here to have an experience, just like you. Came down here to have an experience. And I'm manifested. So in the manifested state, we do have issues. I can admit to that. But if you ain't keeping good records, and how were you sending your documents? Okay. Know where you are sending your documents. People contact me. They send it to French Providence. They send it to RV Bay Publications. They sent it to, who's the other people? There's so many Moors nationalizing other Moors out here to get us on the right frequency and supporting our own nation, not a corporation that's claiming to be a government, which it is not. Y'all know who y'all sending stuff to. Y'all be like, Sharon, I sent you where's my identification card? I'm like, well, damn it, I just got the machine a week ago, and I've never been advertising that I do nationality IDs. I ain't advertising it now yet, until I get it up in fleet mode. So I'm not advertising it, but y'all gonna still keep sending it to me. So I'll be cracking up. I'll be like, no, I do nationality. Been doing it for a year now. You was on camera saying that. So my point is, if you keep good records, if you make copies of everything you send, and then you wait like maybe 2 weeks, and you be like, wait a minute, I sent my documents out. Let me go find out. Oh, I sent it to RV Bay Publications. Well, that's who you should be contacting, not me, because I didn't get your documents, and I can do nothing in that regard. You have to contact that individual in order to get a status of me, right? But at least give it a week. Family, I know you're dealing with things, but your paperwork does not validate you. It is you who validates you. You need to know how to articulate yourself. And until you get your documents and your identifications in your mail, you're still a Moor. And you still can demonstrate in that capacity. But know what you're talking about. And like other judges of the Moorish American Consular Court says, don't demonstrate beyond your competency. What does that mean? That means know what you're talking about. When you say, I'm going to stand on my rights. Wait a minute, one more is like, I'm expatriating. I'm expatriating from this said union. And I'm like, well, what are you? Because this is, so what are you if you're not the them? I'm like, well, if you don't have a nationality, well, you're just still floating out in the sea, and they can come and claim the booty and the prize. Because you have to have a nationality. So you can't sit here and say and be challenging stuff, and you don't even know who you are because you haven't declared and proclaimed your nationality. So when people be talking about me, sitting here cracking up inside, because I love my nation, I love my people. And you'll never hear me say that I can't stand. I'll be like, this person just was sitting here challenging all types of stuff, but didn't even know who he was. How you challenge talk about my First Amendment right is to bear arms? No, that's not my one. I think that's number 4. Which one is that? Bear arms.
That's 2.
That's 2? I have the right to bear arms. Well, who are you? John Smith? Well, no, you don't. Because that Constitution is in relation to people who are not swimming out to sea. You have to declare and proclaim your nationality for law to apply to you. Why do you think everybody, thinks that they can call in and spring into law when they don't even have a nationality or a status? Status is nationalities, family, just so you know. When I say you don't have a status, that means you don't know who you are, and a U.S. citizen is a bandit, a terrorist, and an outlaw. Because it doesn't have anything to do with where you came from. It has everything to do with the United States Service Corporation, here to do services, never was supposed to create a so-called 14th Amendment policy, and if you call yourself that and vote in those types of organizations, you are denationalizing yourself, even if you didn't have a nationality. So when they pull you over and ask you for a license, registration, and proof of insurance, you might want to have that. Don't demonstrate beyond your competency.
Don't try to play the part and don't know the script.
Don't try to play the part and don't know the script, Robin said. And y'all been talking to Robin a lot. So don't be sitting here calling her all off the chain. She my assistant. Not your assistant. She my assistant.
Follow that.
Yes, the grid. The grids are over there if anybody needs a copy. The grid. And here's my tag. This is the first thing I'm going to instruct Robin to say as my assistant, as the Moorish American Consulate, and anybody else. Where you at on the grid? So it behooves you to go to that Facebook group, Moorish American Consulate, Indian Maxim, and download the grid. It will always be updated, but right now it's as updated as it's going to be. And this grid will let you know what you need to be working on, what you need to be focusing on. Because there is a plethora of information out there, a plethora of different organizations looking to cannibalize you into their nation or into their corporate structure. And know that anything that's more should not be registered outside of themselves. So if you're registering within that corporate structure, you are tying yourself to that corporate structure, even if the language is suggesting some things. Because people send me their documentations and I read it and I'm sitting here like, well, did this person realize that they just aligned themselves with a service corporation? Even if they say Moorish American nationality, they got some language in there that's kind of aligning them with the corporation. So, family, it is imperative that you know what you're talking about. And before you start demonstrating, at the very least, just nationalize and go sit in the cut and learn some stuff. Just do that. And as things happen, you're going to have to spring into action. I mean, you're just going to literally have to, and to some degree, you're going to have to jump around this grid. But at the very least, get on it. And how do you get on the grid, family?
Yes, Lord.
Nationality. That's how you get on this grid. This grid does not apply to anybody outside of that.
That's right.
If you're outside of that, you can't get on this grid. You can't claim nothing. You can't own nothing because you're a ward, and a ward is a chattel, is an animal. And I'm not making this derogatory statement to insult you. It is the reality. Because while you're in your feelings, everybody else is standing on law. And standing on law literally means they're standing on top of you. Don't let them stand on top of you. Make them have to stand right beside you.
That's right.
Not on top of you, not in front of you. Some people are behind you. That's true. But not your own. Islam? So get on the grid. The grid's going to keep evolving, like I said. To get on it is the first step, nationality. Nationality process. The first thing on the grid is this, right here. This is the first thing on the grid. So when you want to contact the consulate or any of the judges and you haven't done this, well, this is the first thing we're going to tell you to do. Because you can't really do anything else outside of that. Because outside of this, you have no children, you have no property. You don't own you.
What's an information sheet?
Information sheet is, what is information here?
Application. I mean, the sheet that has, you put all your info and you get to do the rest of the other documents.
Oh, I never filled it out. Is that it?
Contract information. Right.
I'm trying to use etymology. When I say info sheet, what is an info sheet, family? Information about, and if it's in regards to this, it's information about what?
You.
Ah!
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah.
You overthink stuff. Just stay basic. You got, the Service Corporation got, they have books this high with their policy codes and processes, right? And because we sit here thinking that we want to play Monopoly, right? Because we want to play Monopoly, we go get those books and we read all of them. Some of us are so knowledgeable in these books that when you ask them a basic question, they can't even freaking answer it. Because they only using this knowledge, which is black codes. And you can literally just throw all that stuff away. Don't you love the fact that you only got 4 lawful documents to really bang on them with? 4. And they're all about what, 10 pages each? And you could literally study that for a year. Literally. Keep reading it over and over again. Because that's your salvation. Not all those codes, processes, and information. And we've gotten so busy, so used to people telling us what to do, how to do. We forgot that the etymology in the word tells you exactly what it is. Literally. I'm being serious. Half of the questions you have, you can answer yourself. You don't even have to ask me. If you would just do this. I tell Robin to do this all the time. Breathe. Just breathe. Through your nose, because that's what this is for. When you breathe in, guess what? It goes through a filtration system. It goes through a filtration system, so you ain't breathing in no garbage because you breathe out your mouth. Stop breathing out your mouth, family. Breathe out your nose. There is health in that. There is wealth in that. And when you get so stressed out sit your butt in the corner and just breathe. Seriously, you'll get a lot farther by not allowing your emotions, which is constantly attacked, to determine your outcome. I've learned that on many of occasions. I've had so many occasions where I had to deal with so-called fear, and we know what fear is. What is fear? False information appearing to be real. And this is a kicker because the ancestors told me this last night. The ancestors said this. We got tricked into believing things that are not reality. The reality that we are experiencing is the reality set by those who wanted to hypothecate you and everything you are and everything that is yours. Well, the mother, the divine, left all of this for you, Moors, left all of this land and wealth for you. You establish it, you control it, you dictate how the weather's going to be outside. You and I do that. Well, if you want to control something because you don't have that ability because you come from someplace else and you don't come from the divine, per se, what you gonna do? How you gonna get people to will what you want? How you gonna get them to do that? I tell you, you're gonna create movies, you're gonna create an entertainment center, you're gonna create all of these distractions so you can start manipulating those who are the gods of the world to do your bidding. So right now, we manipulate the weather for them. When straight hurricanes happen, yeah, that's you doing it. Unless it's those so-called weather modification things that people think exist. You are the weather modification, Moors. You are HARP. You're creating all of this. Everything. So stop letting somebody manipulate your thought. You. And when something bad happens to you, do you realize you're doing it to yourself? It is really us doing these things because of what has been programmed into us. Right? Seriously. If I programmed you to think that let's use an example. Policy enforcers pull you over and you actually submit to jurisdiction. People give you an invitation to go to a tribunal and you actually go. Everything that you do has been placed in your mind by all of the social media outlets that have been deceiving you. And the only purpose of them spending all of the finance on these video games, these commercials, these sports, is to keep you distracted from doing exactly what we're doing here today. You distract much. So don't you think we should stop allowing other people's don't you think we should stop manifesting other people's desires and you manifest your own will and intent? And make sure it's on the right frequency. On love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, right? So I'm not going to keep beating that to death. I'm just going to say keep records. Have a file of everything you send and where you sent it and the date. Put the date on there. Oh, I sent it on this day. And then give it a week. But in the meantime, you got a whole plethora of files in this group to start activating. And based on this grid, if you're waiting on your nationality documentation, but you've already made a copy of it, so you've already declared and proclaimed it. It's already done. So start acting in that capacity. And to act in that capacity, the first thing you want to do is dissect this document, these two documents, because it has all the supreme laws in there. And then go to those supreme laws and read them. And then if reading is something challenging to you because you haven't been really taught how to do that, watch YouTube videos until you get competent. And trust and believe as you rise, your competency and frequency is going to rise automatically because the information that you are looking from outside is already within. It's already inside of you. You just got to find it. And you have to help your spirit to locate it. Because your spirit's like sitting in the pit of your stomach, just as an analogy. Like if she don't turn that stupid Desperate Housewives off and go watch a Taj Tariq Bey video or go to a consulate website. So guess what happens? Then the frequencies start messing with you, right? So now your TV shows start blinking, start glitching. So now your spirit trying to fuck with you. And you get mad. And so you sit here and put any more resources. You'll go call a repairman. You'll spend all this energy to get back to that than to just stop and say, well, you know what, maybe I should go read a book. Or maybe I should go do this that I've been putting off on and waiting till some calamity happens, because you know we learn through pain. Because when we are sitting here chilling and laughing and having fun, we ain't doing nothing. So calamity has to come in and get us back on our frequency, get us back on the grid. So I always say, why have to have calamity in order to do the right thing? I don't like to get my ass kicked. So I'm going to do the proactive thing by doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Right? Because if you study for at least 3 hours a day, damn, go watch the damn hour show. But just realize it's a show and you shouldn't be mimicking your life around it. It's a show and they are acting. It's not reality. Always be the first thing you feed yourself. Don't let other people feed you, right? So what I'm saying is, once you've declared and proclaimed your nationality, it's your signature that activates that document. Witnessing. People complain about witnessing. Mustafa came up with the perfect thing. Sign your documents, record yourself signing your documents from your phone. Make sure you say your appellation so we know who you are. And then upload it to your YouTube channel and send us the link when you send your documents and you have your witnesses. And guess who else you have with the whole world, because it just went viral. And that's a good thing, because you want everyone to know who it is you are. That is one form of public notice. So you ain't got to go put it in a paper that only maybe 100 people probably watch at this point. Read at this point, because everybody's on virtual reality and the World Wide Web. I would never even waste my time or my finance putting it in a paper. Post it on Facebook. Post it on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, WhatsApp. There's so many out there I couldn't eat. Those are the only ones I know. So we have all of this technology and you are gods within. So stop acting like you some peasants, because you're not. And I will never treat you that way. I will always engage you and tell you to engage yourself. So where are we at, y'all? Where are we at? So the first column on the grid, if you haven't downloaded it on the grid, it's your nationality documents. It's those right there. Send the copies to the 7 locations. That document is also downloadable from the file section. Eventually, I will have all of this updated on a website with step-by-step information. But until then, this is what you got to work with. Just got to work with it. Send a PDF version to the consulate for recording, so we can give you your Moorish American consulate record number. Islam? And then order your national identification cards. There's many individuals that are doing it. I suggest you not get anything with a barcode. Don't get anything with a barcode. I don't care. Me and my consort debate this. Some people have, just like how you have the corporate ward cards where they have barcodes and they swipe them, and there's information embedded in the barcodes. Most people don't know what that information is. You probably never even tried to even find out. You probably never even asked. I know I didn't when we were back in the day in wardship status, just doing stuff. We were just doing stuff. Doing all types of stuff while they just living it up on y'all. So that's the first column. The second one is declaration of your private Moorish trust. And it shows you the 3 documentations that you need to do that. And all 3 of those documents also in Word format are on the file section of the Moorish American Consulate in I.S.L.A.M. There's multiple groups, but this particular group is for the Northeast, but it's for all people, because right now we are assisting each other. But as we grow and as we get bigger, we are going to start pushing Moors to their respective areas, because what we're building is unification where you domicile. So when you do need to spring into action, the Moorish Unity Freedom Team Islam, you have one. And that's by having events like this, having study groups like this where you are engaging one another. Islam family, this is our responsibility. Don't give all of your energy to the service corporation. I would suggest you give 5% if you won't give anything. And the rest you give to your peoples, your family, your heirs. Be there for us. So if you are in a situation where you need support, people could be there for you. And this next phase of the Moorish estate security is us unifying and coming together. Like I saw on Facebook, establishing a Moorish post, which means a communication outlet. So when things happen, stop being scared to share it on social media. That's where your family is until you establish it within the territory you domicile in. So if people are getting kidnapped and national human trafficking, post all of this stuff because the international community is watching. Post it all. Post the information so we don't have to sit here and waste hours looking for information. It is your responsibility, and your mothers and your sons and your daughters, it is your responsibility to assist. It's all of our responsibility. Islam? So don't be so scared to post your stuff on Facebook or post your stuff on social media. And when people try to block you, you stand on the supreme laws of the land. And if they still want to keep giving you their booty to kiss, lay them. Light has a class on that. It's on the consulate website. It's a 4-hour class, but it's 4 hours of questioning and answering, and you'll get a plethora of information. So please visit these outlets that we're telling you to visit. And when you do have local demonstrations, support. New York is the New York corporate state is about to have a post head down there. So people down there will have a beacon and don't have to come all the way out here. And then I will be traveling down there to assist them in building that infrastructure as well. Islam? So the second one is the trust. And read up on it. Don't call me asking me every little question about how to do a trust. That's why the Wise, Concise Trustee Handbook is out there. You can download it. It's also in the file section. Read it. It's going to educate you on what a freaking trust is. If you don't have a trust, trust me, you're in someone else's. Right to travel. We're pushing that up. That's going to really see legs next week. You know what kind of came in and kind of blew right to travel out? What was that? Which is the next one on the grid. The removal of court cases to the Moorish American Consular Court. Notice of removal process. Which started January 29th, 2019, but for Northeast, we started it on the 25th, 24th. Because of the attacks that are coming, and we need to shut them down, completely shut them down. And the way we shut them down is by adjudication of our own cases as the sovereigns. And the only reasons they were adjudicating is because the sovereigns weren't doing it. They took advantage. And we allowed them to take advantage by not doing exactly what we're doing here today. By exactly what we're doing here at Morocco. Reestablishing our government, which is you, which is me. Islam? So, notice of removals. That process is not as lengthy as you think it is, and there's 3 ways to deliver. Before you can get acceptances, and where I will process the acceptance, I have to have validation as the vizier of the Northeast region, a maximum territory. I have to at least know that they've been served. I have to at least know that they have receipt, whether it be through tracking, the USDS tracking, certified return receipt, or certified and return receipt, or some other tracking, or Moorish delivery, which Consul Demetrius Barker Bey came up with, that I fine-tuned and I'm going to put on the website, so you can have another Moor hand-deliver your documents to these de facto corporations and sign it, and who you gave it to, and that's also verification of receipts, as well as emails. Get email addresses and send it via email. I say send it in all outlets, so they have it. Because once we send the acceptance, that's the end of their adjudication all the way, because they're not lawful, and they're not needed, and they don't have jurisdiction. And even if they want jurisdiction, and even if you give them jurisdiction by getting a representation through a so-called attorney, which doesn't exist here at Morocco, because those so-called licenses not only were expunged by the Pope
2013.
2013, 2014, but it's also been dissolved by us through the International Writ and Arrest Command for all individuals trying to adjudicate in a land they are not sovereign of. And what does sovereign mean? That means they don't own the land, they don't own the property, and they don't own you.
That's right.
So how they adjudicate? Think about it. How is an individual adjudicating somewhere where they not even sovereign to? And a sovereign citizen is an oxymoron. Because how you sovereign meaning you have all power, but yet you as citizens you subject. Can't be both. Islam? So when they send you their decoys and they send you their invitations, what is your response? It better be a competent response, and it better not be submitting to any jurisdiction, which you never can do, because jurisdiction, regardless of if was waived, can never be waived lawfully. They know that. Islam? So the notice of removal has been spearheaded, and I posted in the Northeast group where each corporate territory should be sending their notice of removals. And let's look at that real quick. If we can find it. Notice of removal. All right, there are about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's pretty much 10 places to send your notice of removals based on the corporate territory you're in. Now we're in Northeast Maxim. We're in Northeast Maxim, and this is a tentative list. This is tentative approval of the judiciary, the Supreme Judiciary of the Moorish American Consulate. But I came up with this list so you would know exactly where to send it, and you won't be sending it to the wrong individuals, because we're growing so quickly. We have to send people to their respective regions at this moment. We have to send Moors who are within West. You got to go to West. I'm here to support, but we're at the point where we have to push people within their respective territories, because we're getting flooded by nationality, identification, notice of removals, right to travel, and we need to kind of push those out. And as more start volunteering to build their nation, we'll have more post heads. So more, we can't tell you what we want you to do. You got to tell us what you can do. And we need computer programmers, we need web designers, we need IT individuals. We need that phone portal to start. And we have a plethora of Moors who have competency in these areas. Let me tell you, I'm a Sag. I will navigate wherever I have to go to get the things done that need to be done. And that's why I'm creating and establishing a website that is going to facilitate a lot of the processes and documentation that you need in an organized fashion. But I have to have time to get to that. And I want to have time to get to that next week. So we need more supporting, donating if you can. Not necessarily finance, but if you have finance to donate, why not? It's your nation. Build it. Prophet Noble Jew Ali said, I need finance to build a nation. So don't think that we're asking for these things to rip you off. This is how you build your nation, by support, as well as what you can do. If you know how to do web design, because I don't really want to sit in front of my computer for hours, but I'll do it if I have to do it, because it's going to alleviate all the emails I get for documents. And that's why I pushed many things to the file section of the group, so you won't have to send me an email. And more importantly, you don't have to wait for me to reply to you, because I don't want you to wait for me to reply to you. I want you to be competent and to start just banging on this grid. Islam? So Northeast, the so-called corporate territories that should be sending notice of removals here are Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, Massachusetts, New York, Pennsylvania, Ohio, New Jersey, Delaware, Connecticut, Washington, District of Columbia, and Michigan. Now, Isaiah Vizier Isaiah has Maryland for right now, and Vizier Jamal has Rhode Island of the Northeast region. So that's this area. This document, I'm sure I uploaded this information on the announcement section of the group Northeast of Maxim, so you can just go there and that information will be there for you to know where to send your documents for your notice of removal. It also has the email addresses as to where you send it. Now, we do have a notice of removal administration team that will be pushing through those emails. I missed the meeting yesterday that I freaking scheduled and literally forgot because I had some visitors come by. Huh? You missed it too? I think my apologies. I'm doing so much and my assistant didn't remind me. Yes, I'm going to put it on Robin. I'm going to give her a calendar. So she's like, Sharon, you got a meeting at 5, so you got to get on your because I be forgetting.
I told you the office is going to be busy.
Huh?
I told you the office is going to be busy.
Oh my goodness, it's crazy busy. But the Northeast, keep in mind I have 2 locations. I have 2 mailing locations. One is the mailing location for the headquarters, and the other one is the mailing location where I receive documents. The headquarters is where I domicile. The place where you send mail is the 444 mailing location. So those are the 2 locations for Northeast right now until I get City Hall. And we have all the room we need because we have clicked out all of these hypothecators out of our buildings. Islam? But I've already started that, just so you know.
I don't really know how to make some.
All right. So what do we want to talk about our last hour? That was a whole hour. Goodness gracious. It felt like I was talking for 2 hours.
Right to travel.
Right to travel? You want to talk about right to travel?
Yeah, expand on that.
Right to travel.
Before you do that, can I explain what happened on formal arraignment so everybody see how the notice of removal works?
What? Say it again.
The writ of removal. Can I explain what happened that day when I went there?
3 spoons of
Can you keep it 5 minutes?
Less than 5 minutes.
All right, come on. Tiger wants to explain some things right now, so I'm going to yield the floor to him for 5 minutes because you know how he likes to talk.
Less than 5 minutes. I went to the, I was on bail. So
Won't you tell them who you are?
Tiger, Raven Melchizedek.
There you go.
Noble Tiger, Raven Melchizedek. I went to the, there was a prison thing, a lot of you know me, so I had some issues. But to make a long story short, I put the notice of removal in. They weren't expecting it to go to a formal arraignment. Usually it's drug dealers and everybody who's less than organized in my capacity. I'm fully skilled. Anyway, so I did the process, put it into the court, gave me a hard time, first experience, got everything in. Then the next day, a couple days later, got the writ of removal. The bail agreement, and this is for bail agreement, because otherwise you don't have bail. I went in there, I'm supposed to appear, and it was suggested I don't have to. But actually I did, and it worked because they had my name on the list, so it was a roll call. So I showed up, otherwise I forfeit the bail. But we all know that was all a scam anyway. But let me just fulfill the agreement. Fulfill the agreement, they saw me, went in there, they gave us a review, what's going to happen, then they said we have to sign. I'm saying to myself, I'm not signing anything. Went up to they called me first, because I got in there first, and they showed my name in capital letters.
Your war name. Go ahead.
No, Tiger Raven, capital letters.
But they put it in war name format.
Yeah, war name format. And so I saw the assumption. So they're telling you you're going to sign because your name's up there. So you got to be careful not to sign. On the next page, they have fines and costs. So you're committing to those fines and costs of everything. They don't sign nothing. So then it says defendant. Well, I'm not a defendant. I'm the claimant, the beneficiary, the creditor, and executor and the minister. So I'm like, defendant. No, I'm not signing. What they did was they wrote down I refused, like you do on a traffic ticket. Same thing. I refused. Then they asked me. This is a court administrator. No prosecutors, no judges. This is administrators. So it's the back room processing you. So if you sign, you're in trouble. Don't sign. And they asked me, what do you want to sign the other? No, I'm not signing anything. Okay, and that was it. No future date. That was the end of it. Walked out. Okay, let's go. We walked. So I don't expect they'll ever go back if anyone ever call me. Just for your information, don't sign anything. They got it set up so it's all administrative in the back room, and once that's done, you're screwed. That was it.
So is that the end of your 20 days?
So
That was-
ask him.
that was-
Islam.
Oh, you got questions?
Was that the end of your stint, your vacation?
The vacation ended on the 16th, but the bail
Right.
kept me out. And if I forfeited it, then I would be remanded.
Back in.
Right. They didn't say I'd be remanded, but that
Right.
it goes back in. So there's a chance of remanded, but they couldn't do it for me. So because I knew it was going on.
I have a question to that. You said that they put on your document that you refused, and you said don't sign. I respect that, but I'm saying, you know, what about putting on your document no consent or no contract? No contract. What I'm refusing is not to contract with you. You know what? You telling me I refuse? Yeah, no contract. I'm not contracting with you. No contract. I mean,
And you got to also keep in mind, by not signing, you are refusing to contract.
But I probably
By not signing, because that contract can't even be active. It ain't a live being until you do sign. Which is why they make it which is why they try to force you to sign, because they need your signature to activate that contract.
I had turned in the writ of removal into the clerk's office. Got there early on purpose, so it's on the record there. So all signatories, everything that took place, all my affidavits is in the clerk's office. So to sit up there in the court administration and sign anything, okay, it'll be an opposing to everything I put in the clerk's office. I couldn't do it.
There you go.
To answer the question, I had to say no. I did all the work. So that's a powerful move. The writ of removal and the notice of removal is powerful. I did.
Yes, because what is X-Rel Milligan? What is X-Rel Milligan?
That's
Somebody look that up.
that was thank you. I just want to make sure everybody got the information.
Where's the dark pen?
You know what it
Did
was.
somebody say come
XL,
up?
XL what?
What's X-Rel
They ended it.
Milligan?
No. Actually, it's going to be adjudicated here.
Right, in our
but
on our
properly.
side. Right.
Not-
Okay.
What's
not
X-Rel Milligan,
commercial.
y'all? Let's focus now. Let's get back to, where is my highlighter? It's black. Where'd it go? It just disappeared. What is X? I want somebody to read that. I think it's X-Rel
It's Milligan.
Milligan. I believe that's what it is.
I'm not the only one.
Come on, somebody look it up.
That's excuse me. Ex parte Milligan.
Oh, there you
Right
go.
here.
I knew I did
That's
something.
71-4. A Supreme Court that ruled. Hey,
Here is some information about ex parte Milligan.
Literature
Damn, am I spelling this right?
P-A-R-T-E.
What is Ex parte Milligan, y'all?
Supreme Court case that ruled.
Read it. What is that? You want to get up and read it?
71 U.S. 2.
Well, give me your phone since you ain't going to read it all
now here
loud.
it is. It's a Supreme Court case that ruled the application of military tribunals to citizens when civilian courts are still operating as unconstitutional.
Okay, can you read that a little louder? Ex parte Milligan, 71 U.S. 2, was a U.S. Supreme Court case that ruled the application of military tribunals to citizens when civilian courts are still operating is unconstitutional. I'm going to write that down real quick. Now, they said civilian courts are still operating is unconstitutional.
Okay, so when Trump creates the martial law, it'd be unconstitutional.
Well, first of all, Trump can't create anything. He's a service corporation, and he doesn't have authority, period. He doesn't have authority. He's a service corporation. It's a corporation on the land to provide services. The services he provides are what we tell him to provide at this point, because, anyway. Ex parte Milligan, civilian courts are still operating is unconstitutional. Military tribunals. It's talking about military tribunals. So, when we look at the so-called flag, the so-called banner that has the gold fringes, that is a military tribunal. You know that, right? Say it again.
Admiralty Maritime.
Right. So it's a military tribunal. We have the Moorish American Consular Court active and adjudicating, right? So because we have the court active and adjudicating, and it sparked on the 29th, what does that mean for this? They can't operate. The only reason that they even had some disguise of abilities is because we wasn't adjudicating our own cases as the sovereigns of the land. And because we vacated that responsibility, well, that gave them free egress to adjudicate because we weren't doing that. And who was supposed to be doing the adjudication at Morocco?
Moorish Science Temple.
Thank you. The Moorish Science Temples. They were supposed to be doing what? Based on Article 1 and 2. They were supposed to be enforcing law and creating them. So because they were not doing what they were supposed to be doing, not the temples themselves, but the administrators operating those temples were supposed to be adjudicating cases and enforcing the law. And because they weren't doing that, that gave all of that corporate body an ability to stand because there was nothing else here. Well, ex parte Milligan is on the land, right? So now we know we've been adjudicating since when? When did we start notice of removals?
The 29th of January.
29th of January 2019, right? So now we're adjudicating, which means what? All these are unconstitutional. So why are you going? Why are you even making special appearances? Send your notice of removal documentations in there. Make sure we have tracking verification so we can send the acceptance letter. So once we send the acceptance letters, they are commanded to cease and desist all actions and proceedings.
What if you're paying court fees and fines?
What did you what?
What if you're paying court fees and fines?
Can you really pay court fees and fines? If everything's prepaid and based on House Joint Resolution, they should be discharging everything.
And that's the fact of court.
You're not paying anything. So if you're paying restitutions and court fines, that means you already got a court case, right? That means there was already a so-called decision within one of those military tribunals for you to pay something, right? So what do you think your next step should be?
We're doing the removal, right?
There you go.
I asked that for, not for me, but for my daughter.
Oh, okay, that's what you do.
She couldn't come because the baby. You know,
right.
It's too cold, but she's paying restitution.
She's paying restitution on a court case.
Yeah.
But now she's a Moorish American national. She declared and proclaimed her nationality last week. So now and she has a Moorish American consular record number. So her next step is to actually file the notice of removal. And you know the process of filing the notice of removal, right?
No.
Go to the file section of the group, Moorish American Consulate, Indian Maxim, download the instructions and download the documents and get it done for her. And that'll be
I can do it for her?
Yeah, you'll be helping her do it. Okay. And so you'll be enforcing it. But keep in mind, your daughter just declared her nationality. She got to get a little bit of competency to know what it is she's actually doing. Right? And there's also what's also in the file section is the binder for newly nationalized Moors, which is a plethora of information. Download all that. I would have been downloaded everything because you know me, when I first got into Moorish science, I always was scared stuff was just going to disappear off the internet. So I would just automatically download everything and have it in my file section, so I will always have it. I did that with everything. I was a little nervous Nelly, thinking things were going to disappear, not realizing we're in the age of information. Nothing's disappearing. Actually, things are appearing that you never thought was reality, but now you do know because it's now appearing on the World Wide Web. All you have to do is think it, and it's going to come to you. Islam. So, do we want to talk about, what do we want to talk about next? Talk about a lot of stuff.
I got a question. In the event that, let's say, a Moor went to a court and filed it.
Went to a court? You mean a tribunal?
To a tribunal.
I gotta call it a tribunal.
To a tribunal.
An unlawful, well, let's call it, oh shucks, here we go.
Unsanctioned corporate pseudo court. Yeah, if pseudo is fake. Right. Unsanctioned corporate fake court.
Right.
Unlawful military tribunal. Let's just call it that.
Courts are?
That's what whose are?
Courts.
Who?
Well,
you gotta stop calling it. They are unlawful military tribunals that no longer have authority because the Moorish American Consular Court is here adjudicating. So they can't do anything. Keep in mind, the mass transfer of wealth was done through what? It was done through those counties.
Right.
And their so-called unlawful military tribunals, because they were hypothecating under the doctrine of discovery because you didn't claim yourself or your property and you've abandoned your estate because you didn't know it was your estate. You thought you came over on slave ships. So, unlawful military tribunals. What was the question again? Go
Okay,
ahead.
thank you. Okay, so Moore goes to the unlawful military tribunal, and he files,
Records. You have files. You can say
right,
that.
record file, the notice of removal. Then he's called, because he's not on the list, they send him to another courtroom, totally different.
He's called. How's he called?
He's told by that room where it was supposed to take place that he has to go to another one because he's not on the list.
Well, the reality is you were at an unlawful military tribunal. They were asking you to do something and you were doing it.
I went, well...
Let me tell you what I would have done. I would have recorded and I would have left. I'm only coming here to let you know I filed. I'm filing and recording to have this so-called case through this unlawful military tribunal removed to the actual Article 3. Huh?
They can go, are they allowed to go in the other room?
If you want to go with them, but no.
They're
I
not
wouldn't.
allowed.
Why would you?
Well, that's where they was going.
Oh, no, I would go get them. They like to kind of start, hiding and then we get distracted. But unlawful military tribunals. So if you know that you got this unlawful case, lacking jurisdiction, lacking lawful principles, lacking status.
There you go.
All you got to do is be like, look, I'm filing at an actual lawful court, Article 3, constitutional, and I'm just letting y'all know.
You're lacking standing.
Lacking everything. I'm just letting y'all know that I have filed. And then when you send your documentation that you filed, the vizier of Northeast Maxim is going to send an acceptance of the case. And let me tell you, 100%, probably 100%, I'm going to say 99. 99% of the case is going to be thrown out and dismissed because of what?
Illegal.
What specifically? Unlawful. Why? Because they don't have jurisdiction. Because they don't have jurisdiction, they can't adjudicate. They can't even talk unless we give them delegation of authority. So say why would we give individuals with no standing and violating the supreme laws of the land and pushing codes above above law, why would we even give them delegation of authority? We would spring up other consular courts to handle the flow.
It was the second part of the Constitution that specifically says, and it's in Arabic, on the consular court, that you were not to charge, try, and convict, and or incarcerate Moors, Muslims, natives, and indigenous.
And why?
Because they had no authority.
Thank you. They're not supposed to be adjudicating anything when it comes to us and them. When they want to seek remedy from us or put a claim in against us, where do they gotta go?
To us.
They gotta come to us because we're the sovereigns. They can't establish courts within our lands. Why can't they do that? Because we contractually said that they couldn't. Because of the Constitution tells you exactly who's supposed to be adjudicating. It says it in Article 1, 2, and 3 of the Constitution. And it talks about them only having a president and a vice president of that infrastructure. Now, if they want to have so-called courts within their own territory with their own people, well, they can do that. But when they have claims or think they have claims with Moorish American nationals, the sovereigns of the land, they got to come to the Article 3 Moorish American Consular Court for a redress. And they know this because everything that we've given them, they came to us to get. When they wanted to make universities, this is part of, I can't think of the name, y'all. But back in, Light knows what I'm thinking about. And they actually talk about how their so-called universities were established. They came to the Moroccan courts for land and resources to establish the ability for agriculture and different things that they've deprived you now of.
Right.
We gave them
50 years they had it. Yeah.
Yes, we gave them finances, money, gold and silver to establish schools and universities so they could come up in terms of the ability to cultivate the land, the abilities to operate as a functioning body outside of them, within themselves. We did that. That's where majority of the so-called universities that are here today, that they're sitting here trying to charge you fiat for, to go into. We did that. Everything that we gave them lawfully, I guarantee you, they have documentation to validate it. But guess why they're not going to show you? Because they know they warred against you. Terrorists, bandits, outlaws. Regardless of their ignorance, that's what they're doing. Ignorance is no defense for breaking the laws and partaking in treasonous activities against the peaceful inhabitants at Morocco.
Ignorance of the law is no excuse.
Ignorance of the law is no excuse. And if you lack status, you can't claim nothing. If you don't have a status, you ain't claiming nothing. Because to claim something has to, well, when you have a status, right, you got to figure out what laws we talking about. So when we talking about an Albion, right, who might have a status, let's say they even have status under the so-called the so-called organic states as so-called citizens. Well, they would have to come to a specific venue, and a specific treaty or constitution is what we talk about. And the only thing when they have a claim, or they feel like they got a claim, it's got to stand the test of the supreme laws of the land. And if we gave them anything, it would just be the utilization of it, and it would have a document to validate that, and it would come from a Moor. It can't come from a service corporation. It can't come from the county of recorder of deeds. The recorder of deeds is just to be recording so-called deeds, not to be creating them out of the freaking air, which is what they're doing. They're sitting here taking land from this person, giving it to that person through a deed. And if you look at the deed, a corporation gave another corporation something with no consideration, mind you. How is that possible? And they try and kick you out your domicile, and all the fraud points to them. Not to you, but if you don't have a status, it does point to you. And now they can come in and take you out your home and do all types of things because you haven't put yourself back on the grid through nationality. Islam? Question?
So, yeah, Judge Sharon, you and Akeem just got finished talking about the Constitution, right? And all the things that you were just referencing is that, the Moors need to go to the Constitution and see that these things be there. What I'd like to chime in and say, the Moors need to definitely go to the Zodiac Constitution, because that speaks directly to you,
Islam, concerning
who you are. AA, a publication from CM Bay, AA 222-4144. 141. Okay, you know where I'm going with it, right? So get up in there and do your research to Don't believe me, go see for yourself. And don't hold me to it. Just, put me in check. And back on the ranch, right? So AA means that, the highest status in the land. That's what that AA means, of which you and I are. These things you need to know about yourself. You really need to do the research there. Take time and go over that Zodiac Constitution, because that is clearly for us, and that is what at the Library of Congress, CM Bay's work, and it is established and thusly so that if it's at the Library of Congress, then that they know exactly who we are. So stop with the tripping, stop with the mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. Don't what we're not going there. Let your yay be yay and your nay be nay. Know what you know. Stand on your square. I get the floor.
Islam. So what specific article did you want to talk about in the Zodiac Constitution?
For instance, 3. Article 3. It talks about tax exemptions for Moors, Els, Bays, Days. The tax exemption and the military exemption. You know what? That's just one area to concentrate on when we talking about taxes.
So she was talking about Article 3 of the Zodiac Constitution, which talks about tax and military exemptions for Moorish Americans. Tax and military exemptions for Moorish Americans. That's the Bays, that's the L's. The Moors, referred to as Negroes, definitely can never become members and citizens of the Union Society of the 48 states. Therefore, they cannot be forced or drafted into the Union, U.S.A. Army or military services to fight for the Magna Carta, code of the white supremacy against themselves.
Tell it.
The lawmakers of the 48 states Union's order cannot force the Moors, the Bays, and the L's to pay taxes because taxation without representation is a supreme violation of the Moorish Zodiac Constitution birthrights of Islam. When the Union lawmakers denounce their immortal Magna Carta code and resort to the Moorish Zodiac Constitution, the Moors are compelled to pay taxes because every one of the nation will be equally represented by it. There is no room in the science of Masonry, the Zodiac, for mystic gods, religious worship, race, color, ignorance, war crimes, slavery, human injustices. Adequate employment and protection for Moorish Americans. That's Article 4. Adequate employment and protection for Moorish Americans. Adequate employment and protection for Moorish Americans. Every lawmaker, the heads of industry and business enterprise of the 50 states Union order are obligated members and citizens of the Magna Carta Christian Church and Temple system of Christ, the King of Jews, meaning jury over the wealth and culture of the living Moorish nation of North America. Therefore, by the Zodiac Constitution, the Moors, the Bays and L's can demand adequate employment, food, clothing, shelter, medical care, and equal rights, respect, and protection from mob violence, mercenaries, mob violence, rape, and injustices, otherwise without being obligated to Union Church and religious systems of orders of white sun idol gods. Chapter 5.
Can we, I just want to recap on something that you said.
You gotta speak louder because I don't know if they can hear you.
Harping really hard on some things. Now, Judge Sharon just clearly stated, you know what, we are to demand. So give the directive. You know what, not to request, not to petition, because a request can be denied. Demand, because these are our rights, our God-given rights, not privileges, as privileges can be taken away. Rights are innate. They are unalienable, and they are your rights. The world didn't give them to you, and they can't take them away. I yield the floor.
So the Moors, I'm going to reiterate what it said. The Moors, the Bays and the L's, can demand adequate employment, food, clothing, shelter, medical care, equal rights, respect, and protection from mob violence. Equal rights, respect, and protection from mob violence, rape, and injustices. So what am I saying? And so many other international laws enforce and confirm what I just read. But let's go to Article 5. Oh goodness, I don't want to do that. Maybe I should because she brought it up. Chapter 5, Article 5, Immortal Marriage Licenses Codes Against the Zodiac Law of Nature. This is probably for you. Immortal Marriage License Code Against the Zodiac Law of Nature. Truth cannot be altered and therefore needs no apology. There we go. Nor doctrine, because it is the supreme mental doctor. Oh my God. Mental doctor itself by the entire human family, women and men. Thus, the truth is the sisterhood, Christian Daughters of the American Revolution, DAR, established the marriage license states' right code to prevent the Moorish men and women from marrying into their Magna Carta society of white supremacy. Did you ever stop to think that women and men are already married by the supreme law of nature, and that the marriage license is an act of violence of the law of nature? The natural law union between women and men spells love and the reproduction of a child, is which a marriage license pays no part in. Definitely, there cannot be any illegitimate children, offspring from women and men, because women is the supreme gate of creation of both male and female children by the law of nature, which spells Islam, I.S.L.A.M, master, the carpenter and the grand architect of the human family. Adam means the positive forces in woman and sons responsible for evolution of the reproduction of children by the law of nature. The Pope, priests, and preachers and judges of the Christian society definitely cannot prove that their Adam and Eve had a marriage license. Did you ever stop to think that the marriage license code is an act of selling women and men back to themselves? The Union Magna Carta marriage license code, unfortunately and unconsciously, caused the white woman to be cut off from the human family, the Moorish nation. In other words, the white women are supreme social slaves against their own will and desire. This has caused them to carry in their mind and heart a secret sorrow and anger, which causes their children to inherit a tendency of crime, hatred, insanity, and various diseases. Not even gonna go no farther with that, because I don't want y'all to act. Anyway, Islam, supreme standards of zodiac marriage law culture. Here are the elements of the signs in the zodiac and women and men's opposite signs involving the first marriage of the zodiac law of nature. No preacher and money and license, and neither religion is necessary in the standard zodiac marriage of law. In harmony with Aries is fire and Libra is air. Taurus is earth and Scorpio is water. Gemini is air and Sagittarius is fire. Cancer is water and Capricorn is earth. Leo is fire and Aquarius is air. Virgo is earth and Pisces is water. In 1863, Union Bible story of Adam and Eve were founded upon the Moorish zodiac 12 signs law and negative and positive forces of nature, female and male. In harmony with nature, Aries is fire and Gemini is air. Leo is fire and Libra is air. Sagittarius is fire and Aquarius is air. Persons born under the opposite signs and the angle signs are in harmony with one another in every manner, which means if you follow the zodiac constitution and conjoin with individuals that will accent you, you'll have harmony and peace in your home.
Can I ask you,
I'm just saying.
Can I ask you to clarify something?
Wait a minute. Thus, first-hand knowledge of the sign under which you and your mate were born will guide you, your destiny in peace, progress, and happiness forever. Let us remember that this is not a theory, babies. The zodiac is the absolute universal standard of marriage and human guidance. Women and men will know their duty towards one another and their children without being forced to traditional codes of court cases, courtrooms. So what I'm saying is, what am I saying? I'm saying your zodiac, what you thought was demonic, your zodiac, what you thought was bestiality, is how you're supposed to govern self, society, and your heirship. So when you are not utilizing your sciences to conjoin with another more, you're out of alignment. Therefore, you have issues. We all have issues in our homes. We can attest to that because we're violating our own laws, and we think that we marry for love. We really think that, y'all.
Just sharing. Can you clarify something?
No, you get up here and clarify it.
No, I need.
You got 5 minutes.
No, I need your help. I just want to bring something to your attention, to everybody's attention, since we know,
I'll go back.
Islam family.
Talk to the camera.
Judge Sharon, as she's reading, I'm sure you all heard. Okay, I'm sure you all heard her saying, white women. So it's at this time that I'm going to turn it back over to her and let her, explain to everybody what that means. So does it mean white women as we know it? Or because we are really white and they are Albion and you've always been taught that you were black, they were white. I just want you to...
No, you go ahead. You're doing fine.
Okay. So it talks about, the white woman and, with this whole marriage, and selling each other back to each other, and how that takes her out of balance, and how it affects her children, the mourning that's in her spirit, everything that happens to her as a result of coming in under the unum sanctum policy, under outside of law, being an outlaw. So not staying true to who she is, the way she was fearfully and wonderfully designed, will cause her then to begin to with the fear and being literally off kilter. It will then manifest into her womb and thus bring forth children that don't know who they are, and this is why we got going on what's going on, because everybody is acting outside of the law, outside of their nature. And respectfully, as a doctor, holding my doctorate in theology, that's something that really rings home to me, because that's something that I would say to my colleagues, like, where does it even state that in the Heliotech? Where does it state that the exchanging of a license needs to take place? Like, I don't see that. So if you could show me that, then by all means, but respectfully, these requirements have been placed on us to, again, control us, to take us completely outside of the way that we are designed to be. So it comes down to just really you're living the life that someone else designed for you. You're thinking the thoughts that somebody else told you to think. So now it's time to wake up and think for yourself. And it is, information as such that allows us to get back in alignment with who we are divinely are, and live that out.
Islam. Islam. True that. Moorish, you bumped your head and you forgot who you are. That's literally all that has happened. And to get back to yourself, to realign yourself, is the first step, which is what nationality really is. Nationality is realigning yourself with your nativity, reconnecting yourself with the divine, reconnecting yourself with Mother, and realizing that everything that we've been doing has been isolating ourselves. Who was that?
Your daughter.
That was my... She'd be all over the place. Article 6. The one and only universal law for unity, peace, and economics and social progress. The Moorish Zodiac Constitution is the only universal, unchanged moral law for the human family. For unity, human equality, respect, peace, and economics and social progress. Therefore, every Moor, the Bays and L's, must be guided by this Constitution and Book of Clock of Destiny. Do that which is right by reason, and have respect for the white lawmakers and citizens of the Magna Carta Union Society of the 50 states in order to demand respect from them. The white people of the Union are guided by their Magna Carta traditions and customs, and the Moors are guided by the Zodiac Constitution's law. Nevertheless, their customs and traditions, including themselves, must be respected by the Moors, without submitting themselves to any of the Magna Carta customs. They have what they have, you have what you have. Peace and tranquility can exist, but you can't sit here and jump your fence going over there and they're not supposed to jump their fence coming over here. We are separate so-called nations, and you owe your allegiance to your own people and to your own nation, first and foremost. That's pretty much what they're saying. The zodiac, that which is termed the Christian law, is a rule of action recorded on paper and supported by authority and force. The zodiac law of nature is recorded in the wisdom of woman and man and supported by moral intellect, the greater law. Knowledge of the zodiac masonry, as shown in this Moorish constitution and also in my book, Clock of Destiny, which y'all should get, volumes 1 and 2, will prevent a Moorish American, he or she, from indulging in crime. They then would not have to appear in the courts to stand trial should a Moorish American who has this constitution in book 1 and 2 indulge in crime such as narcotics, robbery, forgery, prostitution, illegal whiskey or alcohol, illegal schemes, gambling, peace breaking, violence, and disrespect for the laws of the city, country, state, federal. They then have incriminated themselves and therefore will be penalized. This constitution card and book definitely does not protect criminal behavior. Your nationality is not going to protect you from violating people, okay? So don't think you can go murder somebody and all of a sudden declare their nationality and all is forgiven. The Clock of Destiny Moorish American Card Identification and Constitution has been registered in the Library of Congress and signed by the author, C.M. Bay. A Moorish American cannot be convicted on false accusations, frame up charges. The evidence against a Moorish American must be concrete proof beyond a shadow of a doubt. The Moorish nation of 150 million, this is back in 1951, of the so-called U.S.A. shall not be destroyed for lack of truth and knowledge of the law and constitutions of the Moors. It goes farther. I don't want to read all, well, it's only like one more page. You want me to read it? Mm-hmm. Article 7, the Moorish American freedom and legal in the Christian Union courtrooms, which we're going to call unlawful military tribunals. In the Christian Union courtrooms, the Moors cannot be forced to remove their red fez from their heads, nor can they be forced to raise their hand and take an oath over the Christian Bible. Neither can Moors, the Bays and L's, employ whites or Negro lawmakers to represent them. The reasons for this is that the white people and their Negro slaves definitely cannot represent free Moorish American nationals, and you know why that is. The Negro is the property of the Union slave holders. The Moors must respect the court by saying, "I affirm." Here, the court has no jurisdiction over them, which automatically makes them qualified to defend themselves by their zodiac constitution law and their mathematical number 9. The number 9 corresponds with the letter I, based on the 9 months from conception to birth, which makes you yourself the great I am, the first and the highest law of self, protection and self-preservation in harmony with your zodiac 12 signs, unchanged constitution moral law of the 360 degrees squared by your number 9. The Moorish zodiac constitution is referred to in Christian mythology as the Holy Quran, or Al-Quran, meaning the earth, the moon, the sun, and the 7 planets, or the chronological zodiac record of the Moorish nation of the Moorish Gate. I'm at the North Gate, North America. The name, Mohammedan, prophet, religion, God, church, temple, mosque, were established by the Dutch Anglo-Saxon priesthood, Franciscan fathers of North, who overthrew the Moorish Society of Islam between 1789 and the Union of 1863. The Moors, the Bays, and the L's must never attempt to teach or lecture in the Christian institution, namely church, temple, mosque, school, and hall. This is a violation of the Union Society, states right, Magna Carta, violation of Marian Christ. The truth of the Moorish Zodiac Constitution law and moral human principles definitely conflicts with the Christian Union customs and doctrine of the Magna Carta for every angle. nor do not criticize the white people's beliefs in religion of their sun and women image, nor do not ever attempt to influence the white people to accept the oral truth and principles of your 12 zodiac constitutional law. Because the Magna Carta is a Latin phrase meaning magnet carta of white people's economic and social attraction only, which has its beginning in the colonies of Ohio, Michigan, Indiana, Illinois in 1848 and in 1854. If the lawmakers of the 50 Union States Society of North America should attempt to ignore the Moorish American zodiac law and birthrights of this Constitution, it should be an act of supreme violation of their own Magna Carta Code.
Oh.
Read that a lot.
Please.
The last paragraph.
Read that a lot.
Article 7.
Article 7.
Article 7.
That section, that's paragraph before the last paragraph, when they mention the states or jurisdictions, Ohio, Michigan, Indiana, Illinois. Lincoln was practicing law there as a bar member. So I'm guessing, without proof, that he was part of that.
Who?
Lincoln.
He came from an Albion Stargate.
Yes, and as a famous case when he represents, speaks for another Moor, and it was like
William Dungy.
Yeah, but they make him look like he was Moor too, where they dress it up.
He's a brutish Moor. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole.
But he was a support of King George and them, the brute Moors.
The brutish Moors, of course, because he was a subject. Because he comes from there. He comes from a college just like everybody else.
But he was melanated.
He was?
Yes, he was not.
But he comes from an Albion Stargate. What's ringing?
So it was mixed, like they call it today. Mixed.
Is it ringing? There's no such thing as mixed. You are what your mama is. Your mother determines your descendability. Nobody else.
So what was his mother?
That's your question. I don't know him. I know some people say he come from an Albion. Some people say he was a amalgamated Moor. Until I got actual information about it, I don't know who he was. Some people say he was Albion. Some people say he was an Asiatic.
I'm Asiatic.
And why are you Asiatic?
Because my mother is Asiatic.
You are what your mama is. When we stop sitting here thinking that we can self-identify based on what we want, we'll get along fine. And stop aligning ourselves outside of our pedigree and our nationality, we'll be fine. So any other questions? We got like 10 minutes on the live feed. 15 minutes on the live feed.
I got a question about the Article 3 court. Is that all these cases will be adjudicated in time, or is it like right away? How do they meet? How's your office set up that process to what are you making summons and things like that?
The notice of removal is letting them know the de jure court is now in session. It is moving all court cases to the Article 3 jurisdiction. Now, like I said, 99.9% of cases, all 100% of cases are going to be dispunged of, released, with nothing, no adjudication, not adjudication. They're going to be discharged, dismissed for lack of jurisdiction, because 99.9% of those so-called violations are corporate policy. You can walk across the street, in between lines, on the line, outside of the line. You can park and not feed a meter. You can travel above 75 if you choose and you do care. What are the others? You can travel in your conveyance without their tags on your conveyances. You don't need insurance because you are self-insurable because you own the estate. Everything is prepaid. What else, y'all? Come on, keep them coming.
Okay.
They can't tell you that you have to pay child support as a father or a mother and put you in jail because you violated.
It's not a crime.
It's not a crime. What constitutes a crime? What has to be?
Injured party.
And what is an injured party? Can a corporation be an injured party? When y'all look at these so-called court cases, who is the plaintiff and the defendant?
State.
Who's the Commonwealth?
Government, right there.
It could be Wells Fargo. Does Wells Fargo exist? What is Wells Fargo?
Corporation.
Where does it exist at?
Paper.
On paper.
Right.
Okay. Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Is that an injured party?
No.
Can you injure somebody who created a code and statute that go outside of the supreme laws of the land?
And how can you communicate with a corporation? It's a building, and you're
Who told them to put meters up and charge you 25 cents per hour? Excuse me, to park in Morocco. Who gave them a delegation of authority to put those meters up?
What if it's a Moor injuring another Moor? How are we going to resolve that?
Specify that.
It's in the treaty. They reveal that in the treaty.
Which article?
If you can't answer the question specifically, why are you talking?
I'm saying Article 21.
What did it say? Pull it up. You brought it up. Can't just say Article 24.
I was reading it the other night.
Now, are both of those individuals declared and proclaimed?
It's a two-part question.
Okay, what's the first part?
The first part is what if an injury is going against a person who's not declared, but the Moor did the injuring.
That's a U.S. citizen. Article 21. Here it is, right here. They're not declared. They're a U.S. citizen. 21. If a citizen of the United States should kill or wound a Moor, or on the contrary, if a Moor should kill or wound a citizen of the United States, the law of the country shall take place, and equal justice shall be rendered. The consul assisting at the trial, and if any delinquent shall make his escape, the consul shall not be answerable.
Did they answer your question? Or do you want a little bit more clarity? Huh?
Please clarify.
Now, give me an example of the so-called injury, just hypothetically. We're talking about a Moor injuring a Moor that's not declared or proclaimed under the bandit.
So he's
Go ahead.
more shit.
So in other words, a Moor who has declared the nationality, and they have to injure another person who hasn't declared the nationality for what do you call that? It's not protection. It's like you're protecting yourself, but you wind up injuring someone in the process.
Self-defense.
Self-defense. That's what I was thinking. I'm sorry. I couldn't get it out.
So a declared Moor injured a non-declared Moor in self-defense.
Yes.
Self-defense. What happened? What created the environment for an injury to occur?
So the non-Moor caused injury to the Moor
by
striking.
Why?
By injuring. I don't know, but I'm just using this as an example. The non-Moor comes after a declared Moor,
trying to injure him, and got injured himself in the process.
Exactly.
Well, justice prevailed, didn't it? But there would have to be some other extenuating circumstances within that, right? And those two parties will come together to remedy the situation.
That's right.
Right? But at the same time, if you got an undeclared Moor injuring a declared Moor, you would probably say, I ain't even going to answer that one. But the reality is we have different laws that treat to nationality and treat to natural law. So if you come to me wishing to do me harm, I have the lawful right to defend myself up to getting rid of you if you keep coming. Right. And Prophet Noble Juwali said what? If you are in a situation, flee. And if that individual continues to pursue, bring the damn world down on him. Okay. That says, so you have the right to defend persons, station, property. You have that right. So if somebody comes up to you and they ain't got nationality, they ain't got none of this stuff saying that they're going to take something from you, you have every right, natural law, to defend what's yours. We proved that on Monday. That's what we proved. I am an heir. You are an heir. I'm claiming myself. I'm claiming my estate. I'm not abandoning it. and I'm standing up for what's mine. And if we got to go toe to toe, I got natural law on my side. I got the divine, and I got the nation. So too do you. But if we sit here and want to stay outside looking behind, like I posted a meme yesterday because my consort actually posted it was Shaquille O'Neal hiding behind a tree. It was Shaquille O'Neal hiding behind a tree. And it said, Moors, we need you, unify and get from behind that tree. So every injury is an injury for all of us. And natural law gives you the right. And it says, like, if someone means you harm, you have every right to defend yourself, but at least do due process and let them know, look, you violated me. Let's take repossessions, for instance. If you got somebody who comes from a corporation, another undeclared Moor, he's trying to injure you. An undeclared Moor is trying to injure you by taking something that belongs to you because a corporation, he employed it, told him to do so. And ignorance of the law is no excuse.
That's right.
So again, that's where you enact this. And be like, look, y'all, come on up over here. And then you got 10, 9 Moors. You ain't got to have arms, but you have the right to bear it. You have the right to have it on your hip to let them know, look, we'll need to make this go to that next level. You're violating law. You don't know what the law is. Go find out. Don't be gang warring with your brother that you don't know that's your brother because you got a job and you came here under a code and violating the law and think I don't have every right to defend mine. Not only myself, my property, my heirs. Same too with so-called social workers. They want to come to your domicile talking about they come and take your heir. And you declare and proclaim your nationality, and they are coming from a corporate ward status, well, you call in that Moorish unity team. Start ring a ding. And Moors come there, but like, you know what I'm saying? We don't want to have to do this. You're forcing us to have to do this because we're going to protect our persons. We're going to protect our property. We're going to protect our estate. And it is our right, natural law, to do so. We got to realize that.
That's right.
Because ain't nobody else going to protect you if you're not going to protect yourself. And you're going to be like Shaquille O'Neal. I know I'm using you, Shaquille. It was a meme. I'm sorry. you hiding behind a tree trying to figure out, let me wait. Let me see. You got all these Moors over here standing in solidarity, and you got all these so-called wards under the corporate state hiding behind trees, wondering should they declare or proclaim their nationality, scared only because they have fear within them and they don't have no knowledge of self. And it is our responsibility, because they are our brothers and sisters, to educate them and gain knowledge, but don't sit there and try to beat a dead horse. Just give them the information and keep it moving. They got to make the decision ultimately for themselves, and but protect them in the trusts. Protect them that way, so they won't have to. They sit here and call you, but like they try to take my house. Well, that house has already been conveyed into your trust. You've already created the title for your whole family's property because they don't own nothing, even though they think they do. So protect your family. So if the colonizers try to come and show up, Moors is coming to the Negro, black, and colored because they're under us too. Ain't none of them. We're protecting our family. We're conveying everything into our trust. But Moors, you can make this a little bit easier by declaring and proclaiming your nationality, so we don't have to be sitting here talking to a Negro, black, and colored individual who going to keep warring against the Constitution by the things that they do. Because keep in mind, it's the things that you do which cause you to war against the supreme laws of the land, and mommy come and smite you by using the albions to do that. Realize they're being utilized to do her bidding because you are violating her laws, which is seeking an enemy versus thy own blood. Should never be an Asiatic that's sitting here telling you what you can and can't do under these tribunals or under these so-called corporations. They gang war with you. And if they gang war with you in the supreme law of the land, they gang war with mom.
That's right.
And all she gonna do is say, that's okay, I'll just go send the albions over there to get her. And then guess what happens 5 minutes after she gets violated? She calling the consulate. What do I have to do? So some of us gonna have to get shaken up a little bit to declare and proclaim our nationality. Some of us are going to have to do that. Right. Just make sure you protect, so it ain't got to be a death Because what did the civil orders deliver? Every death of a Moorish American national, how much is coming from the IMF and all that? How much? 5 million. And then if you lose limb, it's how much? 2.5.
Right.
I know y'all ain't heard me. Remember in 1865 when they so-called declared an end to slavery? How long do you think it took the so-called unconscious Moors to realize that? How long it take? Some of them it took years. Years. They still working on a plantation, but guess what, y'all? Y'all still doing it today. Still doing it, and it was supposed to end in 1865. Still working on plantations. Don't get it twisted. Don't get it in your feelings. So the hell was I? I was there up until September, October. Pissed off. 99.9% of the time, I'm doing nationality documentations at my desk. So don't get mad. Just do what you gotta do to right your life, to right our nation, and unify. So when Moors going through stuff, but keep in mind, Moors, get on the damn grid. Get on the grid. Do some stuff. Don't sit here just be like, proclaim your nationality, and you ain't put nobody on notice. You ain't send it to the 7 locations. You don't have no identification card. You did not create your trust. You didn't send your notice of removal. You didn't do nothing, but yeah, you want us to come over there and be like, what's going on? What's up? Come on, notify, because they have the we have the responsibility lawfully to at least put them on notice. To let them know, look, you gang war with a Moor. Even if they want to be like, what's a Moor? What's that? Oh, if you don't know what a Moor is, how the heck do you have independence? Because you have to pledge it. So you just go be like, how you pledge? So what you're saying is you're gang warring against the nation that gave you refuge, freedom, and a standing. Gave all those things. You was trying to act like you don't know. But they challenging y'all. They challenging us. To make sure. And guess who's using them to do that? Who you come from. Because nothing is by accident. We ain't here by accident. We are here by the decisions we made 100 years ago to be aligning ourselves under this nom de guerre and not fighting in solidarity and unity between the different tribes. We did that. They would have never had a foothold at Morocco if Moors wasn't aligning with the freaking colonizers. We did that.
We're still doing it.
Still doing it. Yeah, you got schisms all over the place. Sitting here talking junk. But guess what? Mama gonna shovel them aside. You got those, how many sealed indictments that's now opening up? People think people just dying of natural causes?
71,000.
71,000. And your favorite little so-called president is one of them, and so too is his little wife. But you don't want to be all happy because they brown. That's all people have to be to get into you? Really? Just be brown?
They were 2 men. They were no husband or wife.
Well, see, I don't know. I would have to see the DNA. Like, you know, I mean, people say a lot of stuff. I have no idea. I'm just going on with the so-called social media is saying. I don't know who they are, what they are, if they knew it. I don't know.
What did he do for the people?
He's a service corporation.
Nothing. The one thing he did do was
sign the declaration.
He passed laws for the.
He ain't passed laws.
Well, whatever he did, he passed more benefits for the.
He signed that in. He did that. Or at least they say he signed it in, but he affirmed it. But what does that mean?
Actually, that was Clinton.
No, Clinton didn't do that.
Clinton. It was Obama.
It was Obama.
2010.
Obama for your mama.
Rights and Indigenous Act.
That's why they was mad at him.
Rahm Emanuel did the thing in Chicago, declared the national mourning.
Yeah, they had to do it. That was they had.
And
to
that's
do
this month, right? Wait a minute.
January.
It was January, but they're supposed to have the flag raising. I believe February the 11th at City Hall. This year. They had it last year on the 11th. I don't know when it is this year. They might try to sneak it up, y'all. We might want to make sure we know. Yes, Moorish flag at City Hall. It was there last year. I was there last year.
When are you going to keep it going? It's got to stay up there.
So let's make sure we manifest that and make sure we know what's happening, because a lot of our people like to do stuff undercover and don't make publicity on it. So it's supposed to be around the 11th, but I'll find out from Taj Tariq Bey when it is.
Will it stay up?
As long as you put it on your homes, it's always up. Once we reestablish our Moorish divan at that particular building, which is being titled up right now, it'll always be up there. And all those other little banners that's all around downtown will be taken down until you re-pledge to the nation.
Don't ask the question. Give the command. We're going to command it to stay. We're going to command it to stay up. Like a request. Are you going to keep it?
And to take that statue off the top of it. Of who's there? Who's at the top of that building? Huh?
William.
That one got to come down. That one got to come down.
Originally, right now.
You know who we should probably put up there? Who should we put up there?
Noble Drew Ali.
There we go. I think that one should be replaced by Noble Drew Ali.
There was natives that's up there first. They took them down.
You talk about the
was the one that
ooh, I can't think of his Tawana.
Takawana. That's what I said.
Oh, you know who would do it? Be good too. Chief, what's his name? King Tamanin.
Tamanin, that's who. Because he's off of. I think he's at the art museum.
Market. He's down at Front Market.
Yeah.
And they actually got.
But guess what? Guess what? They killed him, and no. They killed his wife. I mean, his consort. They threw her off the Lover's Lane. Was it Lover's Lane?
Oh.
Remember that? Y'all ain't hear that story? So y'all gotta take the Mystic tour.
Yeah.
Downtown. Y'all gotta take the Mystic tour where they give you the real stuff, not that. What's that called? What's that tour in Philadelphia? What is it?
Tourist.
Yeah, that nonsense corporate stuff. You gotta take the real one because Lover's Lane is where the Albion, because they was aligning themselves with the Albions, sitting there helping them and stuff. Knocked them off.
I was asking, is there a possibility for us to get a department in City Hall?
We're not going to get a department in City Hall. We are getting the whole building.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's where the Moorish Empire is going to be. That is where the consulate, the Northeast consulate is going to be. All of those hypothecators, all of those corporate non-status individuals will be vacating that building. As well as every other county building.
We constructed that.
Right. You see the Zodiac.
We
Made
constructed
as
the
a
building.
mosque, isn't it?
Constructed the whole city.
They said that City Hall, the way
It's a temple, I would think.
Okay.
That was the empire. That was the I did so much, y'all. That building's gonna be one of the first. That's where I'm manifesting. I'm commanding our Moorish American Consulate Academy Mufti team. That's where all that's gonna be. And all Moors gonna be into it. And on the ground floor is where we're going to be nationalizing Moors, establishing subjects statuses, because that's going to come down once we have majority of our Moors nationalized. Moors is the order, nationality is the order of the day, but there's going to come a time where we're going to be accepting status papers for subject status for people who are not warring with the supreme law of the land. And there are a lot of Albions that are out there helping, assisting, getting the information out there, letting you know that you're vaccinating your babies and killing them, letting you know all this stuff. A lot of the stuff that they've been telling us that we thought was for play, because we don't want to deal with what we've really been doing and what's really been being done to us. But our Facebook Live, I think, is ending. It's ending. I.S.L.A.M family. Back to class.
Family, huh?
Ooh, I did it again. I did it again. I keep doing it, y'all. I keep doing it.
So let me ask you a question on the issue of, because a lot of people ask me about passports, and I'm telling them their nationality card is actually the passport. But how do you apply it going?
See, it seems like everybody wants to have a travel card. It seems like y'all don't want to stand on a wall. Y'all want to stand on a piece of plastic.
Exactly.
Is that what's going on?
Believing in their concept with the public, what's called corporate public policy. It does not exist. We got to stop feeding into it. Stop even acknowledging it, even bringing it up. It's de facto.
Y'all want to just show a card and not talk. That's what y'all want to do. Y'all want to sit here and be like, look, I have the right to travel. And then the person be like, where you traveling to? And then you might get stuck because you don't know where you're traveling.
Wherever I be.
Wherever I be, right? But like, I'm going to the corporate state. You're gonna have to look, Moors. Y'all gotta be yourself.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And let your documentation precede you. So let them know you're traveling. Like, look, I have a flight to blah, 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 blah. I'm Moorish American National. Here's my national allodial identification card. Here's me. I plan to have no issues when I'm traveling, wherever you travel. So that's the airlines. And if they sit here and try to gang war with you, what you supposed to do, Morris?
Lean them.
Hey. Or how about lead them over the rent? You don't even send them like, look, I'm going to be traveling. On this day, I'm using this airline. I done linked you already to make sure this goes smoothly. And that lien is for everybody, and you want to make sure, because those liens is going to make sure business happens lawfully. So in your lien, you want to be like, look, all of Moor has to show to travel anywhere, because Moors civilize the whole world. So there's no place you can't travel not with using your national identification card. And realize the passport is just what corporate people established to be able to travel. It's the right to travel with permission. You gotta get permission to go some places. And if you are gang warrant with your so-called union, you can't go. That's why people sneak in, and then they want to declare and proclaim nationality. So they be sneaking in, or they come in under those so-called papers. Well, those papers says they pledged. So now they gotta reaffirm who they are, right? I was like, so if you want to travel and you want to take a specific airline and you want to make sure you have no issues, let the airline know, let that corporate so-called Homeland Security know. Send them, I'm coming.
I thought they were I thought they were supposed to be
dispersed.
They ain't lawful. But
right.
None of it is. Just let them know, like, look, I'm gonna be traveling. So when you get there, they're not sitting here trying to detain you, be like, who you? I already told you all that.
Yeah, they were supposed to shut down, right?
They all shut down.
IRS.
But keep in mind, what have they been doing all this time? Establishing corporations and declaring themselves to have jurisdiction unlawfully. And the only reasons why they had it is because you didn't know. Because you watched on
Cops.
The Italian Job, that Interpol, or all these so-called, they got you, they deceived you through the TV. That's how you sit here talking about Miranda rights and talking all this stuff, and nobody talking Constitution. So Islam family, we're going to adjourn because there are so many laws in the house. Y'all want to see how many laws in the house? Y'all want to see? Let's show y'all how many laws in the house.
You eventually have to get a stadium.
Islam. The stadium, right? Yeah, eventually we're gonna be different. I'm gonna just turn it around. Look at the family. Look at the Moorish family, y'all. Look, she trying to run. Nah, she running. She running. She running. She running. Look at the Moorish family, man. We united. Islam, tell a live vision. Exactly. Pax et Moor family. Peace and love. Oh, I said family again. Oh my goodness.
Bad habits.
I know. I've been saying it for like 2-3 years before y'all told me I was saying the wrong thing.
Yeah, unconditional heir.
Islam heirs. Heredis. Heredis is Latin for heirs. Look, Cordell Harris said it too. He said Islam family. Pax et Moor. Peace and love. Islam.